the silence and stillness, that place is that place that I guess I feel anyway within me, and a drive for many people, even like very successful entrepreneurs who are making millions of dollars. They have,
Hmm.
I've known one person who does that, like this yearning to there's this, our life, people and work, but there's a yearning to actually go away into the forest by ourselves and just
Yes.
be still with ourselves, with our thoughts, with nature, to connect. I feel like it's to connect with
It,
something
it,
within.
yes. Yes. It's to connect to the self. It's a pilgrimage. And I think I even mentioned this to you also, is I have a martial arts background, and one of the martial arts forms that I've practiced in the past is Filipino stick fighting. And my instructor, who is a couple of years older than me, when I met him in 2007, he had just arrived in the United States from Kalinga,
Mm.
the village of Kalinga in the Philippines. And amazing dude. But about a year after I met him is when I was going through my second divorce, and I took off for a little bit. I went to this little island off the coast of North Carolina called Ocracoke, and stayed in a house that my family bought years ago when it was cheap. He came to visit me, and we got into a discussion, and I was feeling the call back then in 2007 to just take off, just fucking take off. And I was complaining and whining that people were telling me that I was having a midlife crisis,
Mm.
and he just started laughing his ass off. He was like, "That's what's wrong with the Euro culture, dude." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "In Kalinga, when people our age, he and I, feel that call, it's something wired in men. And instead of making it wrong, instead of a male acquiescing to the separation created by a culture that says that's wrong, don't heed that call, stay where you are, be stuck in your job, do whatever the hell that you're doing, and just suck it up like a man, you're actually living in fear that way," which is another topic, fear. And this is where this is going. The fear is from from the Euro culture, that if you go and take off, something bad is going to happen, or something is wrong with you. That's fear from other people coming into you. That's you going into agreement with that fear and accepting that human created system of control. Whereas in that little village in the Philippines and within that culture, when a man feels that, the village comes together, throws a big ass party, everybody celebrates, including the mates of those men, and celebrate them. And then the next morning, he takes off into the bush.
Wow.
He takes off in the jungle and stays gone for up to a year, or however long that male needs to be gone. They joyously celebrate that,
Wow.
because he feels something within him that he has to deal with, that he knows he has to deal with as man, and then he goes out there and he does it, and he comes back a whole man.
Wow.
That's what happened to me, dude. And I got that. Every time I said, "I'm taking off, screw y'all," or "screw life," because I was angry and blame, and I take off, and it transformed me. And a little side note about that too. What's funny is I get back and I tell the story, and while I'm in California, this was just like a couple of years ago, and somebody, I'm telling the story, and somebody says to me, "Wow, dude, you need to go on a shamanic journey." And I just looked at him and I was like, so what was I on? Now, actually, what he said was, you need to take ayahuasca and go on a shamanic journey. I'm like, the shit that I saw out there, and I sailed on the way back from Bermuda, I was sailing through the Bermuda Triangle.
Wow.
Something at the time that I was just like, oh, the Bermuda Triangle, that's cute. And yeah, it's cute, but there's some serious shit out there. I mean, I saw stuff and heard stuff. And I talk about it in my book, but that I still can't explain. I have no explanation for it. But there was nothing to fear.
Wow.
It was scary when it was happening, just like that storm that I was going through was. I mean, I skydive. I have over 500 jumps, and I've had to pull my reserve parachute 5 times. And you have to make a split-second decision before you potentially are dead. That developing hurricane that I was sailing through was an 18-hour event of being scared shitless. And running towards that fear and facing that fear and realizing that there's something within each of us that is neither male nor female nor white nor black nor whatever is way more powerful than anything else. All of a sudden, you become fearless.
Wow.
And in your strength. And it's love. It's self-love. Those people, those men in the Philippines that take off into the bush and people that take off on wild adventures like I did, it's not selfish. It's selfish not to. Because if you don't go through that process of healing and self-love, and all of that anger and all of that crap is stirring around in here, and then you push that out onto somebody else, that's selfish.